Hello, and welcome back to the Universe Podcast. I am your host, Teagan Elliott, and today I am joined by special guest, Mitchell.
Hey.
Hi, Mitchell. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
Doing swell. It was actually very wet today.
Yes.
So I've slowly been drying off. I've been damp the entire day. But you have been in this building working all day because you do law.
Yes, yeah, good fun. I work and school.
Yeah, so I know you have, you're a very busy person. Every time I speak to you, you've always got something going on. I rarely see you on nights out. You're always really busy. So what company do you run? And then, you also, I know you work in law and you're studying law at the same time.
No. So basically, I work in an administrative role for a law firm. Then I study law in year 2. And then on top of that, I've got the cleaning business as well. So that's the company that I run outside of it. That, to be fair, doesn't take up too much time. I'm not doing any cleaning.
So you run the business, but is it basic in your hometown, where you're from, or is
it's across the country? So
Okay.
Yeah, it depends because it's nice and easy because it's cleaning. Obviously, I can run adverts from anywhere. I can do, I can answer calls from anywhere. I can answer texts. So all I really need to do is sort of arrange people around and get the admin sorted. So
wow,
makes life easier.
Okay, that's pretty crazy. So how are you? How much of your time then is taken up by doing your law job, and how do you manage that doing school assignments as well? Because I know law students, everyone I know that does law is pretty busy.
Yeah, so essentially my contract says that I work 9:30 till 5:30, so I work 35 hours a week, not full-time by American standards, but that's pretty much full-time.
I mean, yeah, I'd say that's pretty full-time.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's nice. Obviously, I get an hour for lunch. What happened is, they're fully aware that I go to university, so the days where I do have something, I'll just make the time up at the end of the day if there's stuff to be done. So if there's not, sometimes there's nothing you can do because there is literally nobody working. But otherwise, I'll just make up the time. But pretty much I'll work full-time hours doing that.
And are there other people that also are university students doing what you're doing? I guess this is a common thing.
Not that I know of. No, I don't know any.
You're the only one I know that does this.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person stupid enough to do it. I think is what it comes down to. I don't know anyone that I was told before I started, don't underestimate a law degree. It's going to take up a lot of time, and that they were right. It is busy all the time, but so far so good. I've managed to carry on.
Yeah. So how long is your course? Is it a 3-year course?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it'll be 3 years. 3 years undergrad, and then obviously there's masters. If I wanted to do the JD in the States or anything like that, that would be extra. But the undergrad course.
You had told me that you were considering going to the States in the past.
Is
that still the plan?
Yeah, well, something I've thought about for a while is that there's, in order to qualify as a solicitor, obviously there's exams you have to do, but there's also a period of work that you have to do for a law firm or providing legal services. So something I've thought about is I can go to New York and I can take the bar with my undergrad law degree, which is obviously in the States you have a different process. You have to do poli-sci, something like that, and then do your law postgrad. But with your undergrad law degree from the UK, you can go to New York, you can take the bar, and the next day you can practice as a lawyer in the States.
So that's crazy. You practice British law while you're here, and then you go and you could become an American lawyer.
Yeah, I mean...
Does it not work the other way around? Can an American person that studies there come here and become a lawyer?
Yes, but there is slightly different standards. So an American coming over here, I think, would have to take the USQE in the same way. I have a feeling, although I'm not sure, they would also have to have the relevant experience. So they'd have to have the 2 years of experience in the States. Now, the strange thing is, I could do my undergrad degree here, go and pass the bar in America, do 2 years in America, and then come back here and get that recognized here as, as experience to qualify as a solicitor. But literally after I passed the bar, as far as I can tell, once you pass the bar and you pass the character, so on, then you can just start working straight away, which is, it's an odd system. It's a bit more lax than here.
Okay, so I remember when we first met, essentially, you had told me you had this big medical drama that happened to you in America, and then you were working a lot to try and pay off a lot of medical debt, essentially. So is that why? Did you already have a bunch of jobs going into uni and stuff when you did have the medical situation in America, or did you get all these jobs to help pay that off, and now you've continued that? What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, no, I mean, with the jobs, I started working straight out of school, so I didn't go to college. I started working full-time immediately, And then I sort of left full-time work to start my own business. And then I've kind of done a mix of both since, depending on the situation. So when you mentioned I got really sick.
Okay, can you explain to the listeners what happened to you in America? Because if it's not too traumatizing. Because this was like, I remember you telling me the story, and I was like, there is no way. And then you sent me pictures, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, red skin. Yeah, no. So basically what happened was I went to the Caribbean. I was there for about a month. Working and just doing other things. And then I went to the States because I got family there. So I flew over. The UK had gone back into lockdown, so I thought, rather than go back home, I'll go to the States, I'll relax, it'll be great.
Oh, no.
So the next day I flew over from Barbados to Miami International Airport. Spent the night on the floor in Miami, which was, well, originally I thought I'd got ill because it's not the nicest environment.
Oh, no.
And then I flew across over to Portland and then got really sick in Portland. So I thought originally it was just, I thought it was COVID. I had a nasty headache coming down. Once I got down to Portland, down to Florence. I got checked out. I had a disgusting fever. I felt awful. It was horrendous. And then basically, I was just bedbound and then hospitalized at the end of that once they were, because we weren't sure if it was COVID or not. But at the time, there wasn't the test that we have now. So the only place we could get the test was in the hospital, which was obviously I couldn't leave the house. So it was, my skin went red. It was gross.
Yeah. So wasn't it like a mosquito or something? Like what did you have then?
So it turns out it was a mosquito. It was dengue, Zika, yellow fever, West Nile virus, and chikungunya. So rattiest mosquito on the
you
planet.
had the worst luck in the world to get bitten by this mosquito.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of, and something they said to me, is that if you get infected twice with things like dengue, then it can cause the symptoms to get way worse. And so the only thing I can think of is that, at the start, when I first got to the Caribbean, I was bitten by a mosquito and didn't even notice, carried on with life. And then I got bitten by the rattiest mosquito the planet's ever seen, went to the States, and then just got deathly ill. I mean, the chances of that happening must have been
nothing. So then, talking medical bills, how did that work? Because you went to the hospital in America, you were treated there, and then didn't you also then go on the plane, still just kind of ill, just hoping to get back to England, to the land of the free healthcare?
I mean, that was exactly it. So I went, obviously I got my COVID tests. They spoke to me, checked out my, the skin rash and everything like that. They did blood tests, urine tests. Sorry, too much information.
No, but it's just I don't know anyone that has had something like that. That's
it
crazy.
was ridiculous. And the worst thing was I had insurance. I was responsible. When I went over originally to the Caribbean, I got insurance for Barbados for the whole month that I was there. So if I'd got ill whilst I was there, I was covered. It wouldn't cost me a penny. But because I chose, rather than coming back to the UK, to go to the States, I wasn't covered at all, so it was completely uninsured.
Oh, no.
And it was the second day that I was there that I fell ill, and so there was no way to prove absolutely that it definitely was in the Caribbean, apart from those mosquitoes. They were going through a wave of dengue at the time. They were very prevalent in the Caribbean. So, I wasn't covered, and like you say, it was hundreds of dollars immediately. Every test. It was expensive. And then literally I just had I had a conversation with my GP back home, and we did a FaceTime call. At the time they weren't seeing anyone, or a Zoom call, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he's just said essentially, look, we don't recommend that you go anywhere, but if you're going to, go now. So I was like, fuck it.
Oh my God.
Back to the UK. And then I was hospitalised after I landed at Heathrow immediately.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I missed my flight, which was just great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that to me is crazy because when I sprained my ankle here, I had a trauma story. I don't know if I told you the story with when I had hurt my back in the past. It's a special story. However, when I did hurt my ankle, I was like, what if it's broken? I was like, I need to go get it checked out now, period. So my friend, shout out to Lois, drove me to A&E. And went to go get it x-rayed, and there when I was leaving, when I was down there, no, it's actually not broken, you're okay in that regard. I was like, great. She's the nurse was like, okay, yeah, the exit's that way. And I'm like, oh, like, do I not need, like, is there no
Check out.
copay? Or, like, is there truly nothing? Like, I really didn't believe it. And they don't even have card machines. Like, they don't even have card readers. They couldn't even take my money if they wanted to.
I think, do you pay, like, when you first come, like, when you get the visa and so on, do you pay, like, a...
Yeah. So as an international student, we have, like, with the IHS, we have, like, we have a fee that we pay up front at the beginning of our 3 years, which covers you for the time you're here. Yeah. So then it was free. And I was really late with my registration for the doctor. I just registered this year, and I forgot to register last year.
I haven't done it yet.
And I
still need to get it off
I
there.
got really ill last year, and I should have had it done, but I didn't. But now I do. So
Got it sorted.
go Unity Health. Okay, but yeah. So another thing I want to talk to you about was the special friend here that we have that no one else can see, named Paws. Paws is what kind of dog?
Paws is a miniature cockapoo. He's
Okay.
he's a little cutie. He's a ball of fluff.
He is a little cutie. So I remember when you said that you were getting this puppy, and then you were going to uni, and you had this whole puppy. I was like, how is this man going to have his landlord let him have a dog and like a puppy? And then on top of it, take care of it while you're at uni because you're a very busy person. So how do you manage having a pet at uni? And then I feel like you're one of the few people I know that's like an exception in a lot of ways that you, that you have such a great work ethic and you have such drive and ambition. And I don't know many people with as much ambition as you. So like, how do you manage to then also have a puppy on top of everything you already do?
I think rather than looking at Paws as something that like drags you down, I think Paws is a necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously nobody that's listening can actually see him, but he is essentially a teddy bear. I mean,
I will post a picture on the Instagram of Paws.
Exactly. I mean, he's just adorable. He is amazing, and it's relatively easy because obviously I work from home. I do have PBL sessions and things like that, but the handy thing is that he fits into a little carrier, so he can come with me. He's the best behaved dog on the planet. I mean, he just falls asleep. So I can take him to classes, I can take him home. So far, so good. Nobody's mentioned anything. I'm waiting for the day when someone kicks off, but so far it's been okay. The landlord thing was interesting because originally they did say you couldn't come. I'd already put down a deposit. I was ready to get a tent, and I didn't care. Like, I was just going to get him regardless. Luckily, the contract that she used, the government's taking steps to make pets easier to have in rented accommodation because obviously so many landlords are against them.
And there are also people, I mean, like, you have them as like emotional support animals.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, is that what Paws kind of is for you? This like release, like cuddles?
In real terms, yeah. I haven't got him registered on a scheme, but I want to get him one of the little jackets just so that if anyone ever does see him. But he isn't registered as anything. But, I mean, he is that. I mean, just look at him. I mean, he's...
I will be posting a picture, I promise.
He's great. And it is... You would think it would be difficult to manage with everything else, but the truth is that cockapoos especially, they're lap dogs, they like to be around you. The exercise that he gets, I could walk him back from here, back to mine, which is about 15 minutes, and by the time we get back, he'll be asleep, he'll be done. That's all the exercise he wants.
Well, so then how did you manage the landlord thing? So like...
Yeah, so, the government's trying to encourage landlords to accept animals, because they're not doing it, I think they're trying to change the law around it, but what they do have is... basically a model rental agreement. So any landlord can go, if you've just bought a house, you can go onto the government website, you can download this contract, which is basically a template contract for renting your property out. 80% of rentals have them, so it's like really common. Most people that rent a house will actually have one of these contracts. And in that contract, it talks about basically you can't have a pet in the building without the express consent of the landlord, which won't be withheld without good reason, essentially. That's more or less, I'm paraphrasing, but that's more or less what it says. So
this is why we have our lawyer here.
Exactly, I studied law.
Yeah.
No, so that's exactly it. Basically, what they did was they have guidance on the website which talks about what the specific clauses mean so that ordinary people can read it and understand. They changed the notes attached to one. It's also to help the courts interpret what the contract terms are supposed to mean. And they changed the notes so that it included basically, specifically when it talks about your consent won't be unreasonably withheld. They said that a blanket ban, for example, wouldn't be allowed, wouldn't be considered to be under that. So essentially their own contract said that their blanket policy on pets was unenforceable, that it wasn't a thing. They had to give a definitive reason, a good reason for not taking him. So I obviously spoke to people at my work, I'd emailed the landlord back to say that, and I spoke to people at my work, and they essentially said the same thing. They said, yeah, this is all good. If she has a genuine reason, then he can't stay, but otherwise it should be all good. So I was fully ready. It was going to be like a back and forth.
You were going to fight.
I was on the warpath.
Yeah.
Exactly. But she was really understanding, luckily, and she is, a really lovely landlord. You can appreciate where she's coming from, because it is a difficult situation, especially if you're a student landlord. You never know what kind of state the property's going to be in anyway.
Yeah.
But she was really understanding. She said it was okay. It's the first time that she'd do it, but she was okay doing it as long as we were responsible. And she's come over. She loves him.
Oh, okay,
Everyone
good.
does.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's how we got around that situation. It was. I'm not sure it'd be easy to do again. Especially like looking now for the second year. If I move out of the house we're in now, most of them will have a blanket ban. But obviously you don't have you haven't signed a contract with them, so that's not enforceable. So yeah, I mean, if you want a pet at university, move into the house first and then try.
Ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Yeah,
Is that kind of
something
the
along those
here?
lines.
So I know that you also like to travel a lot.
Yes.
And so being on Zoom, you're able to work from anywhere. So what has been like your favorite place that you've traveled to while you've been working?
Oh, I mean, I love America. I love the States.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Thank
Yeah.
you. I don't hear that a lot.
It's surprising. I think everyone loves to hate it, but the truth is that everyone that goes there loves the States. I have family in Oregon, so that obviously gorgeous area.
PNW, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
You say exactly, yeah. I mean, because you've been in Seattle, yeah?
Yeah, briefly for a few days.
Yeah. It's lovely.
Not as nice as Florence, but
Okay, yeah, well, you're comparing very two different places. You want to take apples and oranges. There you go.
still Pacific Northwest.
Wait, Florence. I thought you were talking Florence, Italy.
Oregon. No, not Italy.
I was like, no, they're uncomparable. I was, okay, no.
No, down the road from you.
I've never been to Florence, Oregon. No.
You should.
Well, Oregon it's just a lesser Washington.
Really? Inferior?
I will fight you.
That's what right, okay. I'll leave, should I? I love Oregon. Some people may not.
You could speak for the people of Oregon. I'll speak for the people of Washington.
Yeah, well, I mean, Washington's nice, but it's not Oregon. But yeah, no, there's no sales tax.
Have you been to Portland?
Okay. There are some exceptions. Small town America, you don't get better than Florence, Oregon. It's beautiful. It was rated the #1 most beautiful town in the world in 2019 by TripAdvisor. So, actually.
Okay, fair enough. No, I mean, America has like stunning places. I'm sure it's nice.
They got worse.
Facts. But yeah, so your favorite place then was, did you say Florence? But were you working online when you were doing that?
Yeah, no, I did at various points, because I go back there as frequently as I can, obviously. It's got to be a toss-up.
I was going to just interject, because I remember when you said, like, in the spring, during uni and stuff, you're like, oh, I'm going back to America for, like, a month or something. I was like, you're going back to my country? And I'm not?
They get suspicious of me, though. When I turn up and they're like, why are you staying so long? I'm like, well, I'm going for the summer. And they go, well, why are you staying so long? It's
yeah.
like, the summer.
Yeah.
They don't like me.
And how do you, like, afford it? How do you, I feel like this is a whole other, like, how do you afford to do that? Like, do you budget and save up in advance, like, knowing that this is something you want to do, and then you go? Or do you just, like, hope for the best when you get back? Or
what I've realized is that it's so expensive that you can only justify it if you go for a long time.
Yeah. No, true.
So
yeah.
with when I go, I can either stay, in an Airbnb or like spare room, something like that, or I can stay with my granddad. So that's the convenient one. He's got a spare room,
nice.
so I can stay there. But yeah, the flights are ridiculous. I mean, because I fly without luggage,
Tell me
it's
about
still
it.
700, 800 quid.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, it really is.
I'm not going home for Christmas.
Really?
Isn't that sad?
What are you going to do?
Tears. My sister, she's been working a lot, so she has saved up to come and visit me. So she's coming for the holiday, but then, I'll just be chilling New Year's. Yeah. I figured I could probably get some assignments done, but I booked a solo trip.
Where to?
I'm going to the Arctic Circle. I am going to Tromsø, Norway, to see the Northern Lights in January.
Aw. So you're doing something at least. I mean, the thing is, though, this isn't the first time you've gone abroad either, because you told me that you were in Italy relatively recently
well,
as well.
if you listen to my most recent episode on solo
so
travel,
sorry.
I talk about my trip to Italy. But yeah, I did go to Italy by myself, and I remember you were in Italy as well. We said we were gonna maybe meet up or something, see if you could.
Because
I was in Florence.
Yeah, no, it
Different
was
Florence, the Florence, Italy,
Yeah,
not
that
Florence, Oregon. Yeah,
inferior Florence. No, I'm going to Florence next year. That one, the
the Italy one.
Italy one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because it was because you'd visited Pisa,
Yep.
visited Florence.
Yep.
Where else? There was
And
something else.
Cinque Terre.
That was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talk about all in the last episode, so I'm sorry if I'm boring listeners that are committed.
I'll just play it back. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just gonna take the piss out of you. But yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean that would have been good. I mean, because I'd wanted to see France. I still haven't been to France, Italy.
Yeah.
So I'm desperate to go. But yeah, at the time I was in Sicily, so it was I was down the road a little bit. But I was coming back from somewhere else, so I just stopped off in Rome.
Yeah.
Could have fun.
I went to Rome this summer for the first time, and we went there for a day, and I wish we'd stayed longer. It's like an open air museum. It's insanely beautiful. Everywhere you go, like everywhere you look, turn around, there's just like something magnificent that it isn't even like the Colosseum and stuff like the stuff like you hear about stereotypically of Rome. There's so much more to it that no one talks about.
Yeah. Italy is one of those places where the whole country seems like it's frozen in time. Just various points. I mean, Palermo. Have you been to Sicily yet? Or not yet? If you get a chance, go down there. But it's ridiculous.
You
It's
were
like being 100
there
years.
for a month? You were there for 3 weeks? You were there for a while.
I was there for a while. Yeah. Well, I left halfway through, so I came back to the UK because it was Mother's Day. Flew back to Italy.
How do you afford this thing?
That's not too expensive. That's the thing. I think people don't realise if you fly Ryanair,
Yeah.
it's $7.99.
True.
Yeah, you can get those cheap flights.
So when you're in America, what do people tend to think about your accent?
It varies. It varies big time. Some places adore it. I called up when I was in New York last time. I called up to go and sit in on a court case, and she said, "Oh my God, I love your accent." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Me too.
Stop.
But some places, honestly, they can't understand. So water. I can have a bottle of water, please.
Oh, I had someone today. They'll know I'm talking about them. They said bottle water. I was like,
water, yeah.
But then it slurs together even more. And it was kind of like bottle water.
Yeah,
And I was like, excuse me?
it just goes straight over the head. Yeah, no, this is it. And I must have said it 4 or 5 times. I was like, water? Have you got any water? He's like, oh, water. Why don't you say?
The way you guys all say water is really funny to me.
It just makes sense. But I mean, it can't be that different, can it? You know, Red Bull. It's pretty similar.
Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah.
They
They won't get it. They didn't get it. So
Did you have anyone that hated your accent and like hated you for your accent?
No, I didn't come across
Wow.
anyone. Not to my face.
I wonder what that's like to not have people tell you that they hate your accent, and you're like, oh, all right, fuck off. Like,
British people have become more confident in being pricks to people's faces. I don't know where that comes from because, like I said, I think people that go to the States love the States. But it's trendy.
When the States comes to them, it's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I don't really get it. It's nice. It's nice to have a change. You know, obviously, if you're dealing with people from just this country, you're getting pretty bored. I mean, obviously, we get the American accent and culture and things like that. But you know, it's kind of rare to hear, "Hey."
Well, I feel like me being in the north, it makes it a little less common.
Yeah.
Versus, I know when I go to visit London for the first time, which I still haven't been, but I'm going in December. I know that no one will care about me being American, or if they will care, it's because of like a prior prejudice toward it. It isn't like a, oh my God, you're American. Why are you here in London? It's it's a metropolis. No one's gonna care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange. I mean, York's only got 70,000 odd people as well, so there's hardly anyone here. So if you stand out in any way, any kind of accent, then you know. Obviously, my other half's from. Well, she lives in Qatar, so her accent, she has an accent that sounds American.
Yeah.
So automatically people are like, so whereabouts in America are you from?
Well, yeah, because
she's like,
they also they learn like the American accent English. Yeah.
She went to a British school, but apparently.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah. I don't really get it, but apparently that's how it works. But yeah, it does. It happens with her all the time. Whereabouts in America are you from? People can't distinguish. You've heard her accent, haven't you?
I don't know.
The girl that was here with when you came to see Paws.
Yeah, I didn't really listen to the accent. Like to me, like I only notice, I guess, the different accents if it's, I don't know, if someone points it out to me, because now I'm just like, I'm used to hearing a bunch of different accents. But I notice the British accent when I'm in America still.
I was going to say, do you find it strange going back and hearing Americans
Hearing all American
everywhere?
accents. It was weird when I was on the airplane and I heard the pilot say like, "Hello, welcome to rainy Seattle," and I was like, that was so weird to me. I was like, oh my god, it's not a British
I love
pilot. That was so strange to me, hearing that, and then landing in America and just hearing all the accents. It was a lot louder too. I felt a little overwhelmed at first. I was like, I'd quieted down a little bit, believe it or not. I'd quieted down just a little bit while I've been here, but that's why I felt like I was overpowered quite a bit when I got back.
It is one of the strange things. Virgin planes especially, I notice it. If you when you get on, you go and they go, "Oh, good morning, hello. Where's your seat? Can I just check your ticket?" And you go, "What?"
Well, no, people are also like a lot friendlier when it comes to like food service and things like that.
That's true.
Like me being here, I like going to a coffee shop. I don't expect people to like go out of their way to be like, "Oh my gosh, is there anything else I can get for you?" Blah, blah, blah. Like that's me when I work food service in America. I'm very outgoing, friendly. Yeah, and I mean because you also make tips.
Yeah, no, that's true. The tipping culture is bigger over there than it is here. Here, if you see a service charge, you can avoid the tip.
Well, now that I'm 21, if I could probably go work at a bar in America and go make good tips this summer.
This is true.
That's something I'm seriously considering.
Really?
Yeah, why not? If someone's willing to hire me for the summer, rake in the cash. Why not?
Not going back to pokey. It's pokey?
Poke.
I'm
not
so
gonna be
sorry.
pretentious. Sorry. Yeah, I work. I mean, I might go work at the poke bar again, but depends on
The tips.
pay and tips. Yeah, I want to ask some people I know that work at some bars and see how much they make in tips.
And
See
to be
if
fair,
it's-
the dollar's going to, when you come back, you're going to have so much money.
Would you really think the pound's gonna plummet more?
Well, no, not more, but I mean, just the pay in the States has gone way
I did
way
transfer some of my dollars over to pounds in like the summer,
Yeah.
in August when it was like at a good
I'm
time
jealous.
for me.
Yeah, I remember because I went not that long ago. It was $1.40 to the pound, and I was in the States. I was like, "This is great. Everything's 40% off." Yeah, not anymore.
No. Yeah, I was not happy last year, but I've been happier this year. Yeah. Yeah.
I can see it in your face.
I feel richer. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up this episode. Mitchell, it has been lovely having you on the podcast today.
It's been lovely being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Teagan.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. You can find us at the Universe Podcast on Instagram, and you can also find the podcast episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and Pocket Casts, all the places. And we will see you all next Thursday. All right, bye.
Bye.